All right, guys, if you're considering starting a high-ticket dropshipping business here in Australia, please watch this video because it will really help you out. And let me get this out of the way quickly and answer this common question. Yes, high-ticket dropshipping still works, and it still works here in Australia. Okay, but most people are following US advice, which it doesn't always apply here. And this video is not for dropshipping from Chinese suppliers. Okay, this is domestic suppliers. I plan on making a whole different video on China dropshipping in Australia. So in this video, I want to cover a few important things that are specific to dropshipping in Australia and can often differ from other countries, mainly the US. And it's the same basic business model no matter where you live. Okay, you're sourcing high quality and expensive products from domestic suppliers. So whilst it's the same model, there are some differences you need to be aware of that can impact your chances of success here in Australia. Because a lot of what's being taught online is specific to the United States, and most of it still applies and is relevant to Australia, okay? But all countries will vary a little with how you approach certain aspects of the business. So first is niche selection, and there's a couple of things to be aware of. First is the population of Australia. Okay, we have about 25 million people. The US has about 350 million people. So they've got about 14 times the amount of people. So with high-ticket dropshipping, we're going to be choosing a niche to sell, like a category of products. And that niche will have a specific market of buyers. And niche selection is a combination of niche and market selection. Like, you really need to consider both. So typically, we're going to broaden our niche more in Australia compared to larger populations like the US, so that we can have a similar sized market of buyers. So for example, in the US, you could easily have a store selling only fire pits, or only pizza ovens, or kids' playgrounds, or kids' tree houses. But in Australia, you could still sell like a specific category of products in some situations, but you could also broaden that niche a little and have a store on, backyard cooking or backyard entertainment for kids. And, an even smaller country like New Zealand, you could have a store just selling all backyard products. In Australia, I've always found it best to target a market of buyers as opposed to a category of products. But you're always best to use a keyword tool to find the monthly search volume that sort of has the right size market for your niche. And these rules around market size for a niche, they're not set in stone. I know there are giant online stores in the US that succeed, and I know there are micro niches in Australia that succeed. Okay, but these guidelines around the size of your market is a strategy that has been working for high-ticket dropshipping for a long time. And the next thing with Australia is the lifestyle and the interests are going to vary. Okay, this is going to impact your niche selection because you need to make sure there is demand for your niche. Australia is a big country, it's a hot country, most of us live near the ocean. Okay, you're not going to make a lot of money if you start a store selling snowboards here. Think about what Aussies are interested in these days. Okay, are we into caravanning? Are we into snorkeling? Are we into the tiny house trend? Okay, what are people in their 20s doing? What are retirees doing? What do people do on their holidays here? What TV shows are currently popular? Like, what are the current home decor trends on The Block or House Rules or whatever renovation show is currently popular here? Take all this into consideration when you choose your niche, and always use Google Trends. Like, that's going to be your best friend when it comes to spotting trends and demand. Now, also with niche selection, you have to consider shipping within Australia. You have to remember that we're a large country in comparison to our population, and we have a lot of rural areas. Okay, that means you have to be careful about the size of the products you sell and where you sell those products. If you're going to start a dropshipping store selling pool tables and someone orders one from a small town in northern WA, that's going to cost you a fortune to ship it there unless you specify all of this in your shipping policies. Okay, so you might have to mention all the areas within Australia you can ship to and to contact you if you're outside of these areas. Okay, A lot of high ticket products are oversized, okay? And you can still profitably dropship large products. But you'll need to work this out with your suppliers, and you might need to organize a freight forwarder in some situations. Now, when it comes to suppliers in Australia, okay, there are a few things you need to know. I would say 5, 6, 7 years ago, a lot of them didn't know much about dropshipping. Okay, that doesn't seem to be the case as much here now. But I found a lot of them don't mention the fact that they dropship on their website. Okay, but then if you contact them, they will actually dropship. Like, I've had many Aussie suppliers tell me that they don't dropship, and then I mention a few things which I found work really well, and then they happily change their mind. And they're the best suppliers because you won't have a ton of competition from other dropshippers. Now, when it comes to the actual suppliers themselves, okay, they are typically the brand of the product. Okay, so if you sell electric bikes, for example, you'll be working with each brand who produces their specific type of electric bikes. Okay, that's how it usually works in the US because a lot of the brands of these products come from the US. But in Australia, the brand isn't always based in Australia. Like, often there will be a distributor in Australia who works with several brands, and they supply all the different sellers within Australia with those brands. So sometimes you'll contact a distributor and they'll supply you with several brands within your niche. And there will obviously be less suppliers in Australia compared to the US, but you may not need as many suppliers, like especially if they stock several brands within your niche. And don't always assume that the distributor is going to be this professional company that you might feel intimidated by, okay? Like, years ago, one of my best suppliers was an old couple who stocked several brands within my niche, and they had all the products in their shed of their property. Like, they lived on a few acres, and I ended up visiting them at their house, and their website was complete dog shit. Like, it looked like it was 30 years old, and I found it on about page 10 of Google. So my point is, there's all different kinds of suppliers within Australia, and how you communicate with the different suppliers is important. Like, Australia overall is a pretty relaxed country, okay? And you want to be yourself when you call suppliers, but you also want to sort of match their personality to a degree. So if they're relaxed and they're less formal, then you can be too. You want to relate with them and you want to connect with them. And like, most Aussies are not overly formal. So if you're trying to secure Aussie suppliers over the phone, be authentic, be genuine, and just be yourself. And another important factor with securing Aussie suppliers is we have RRP here, which is recommended retail price. In the United States, they have MAP pricing, which is minimum advertised pricing. So in the US, they can legally enforce the minimum price which you can advertise products for, which I think is a much better system for a few reasons. But in Australia, they can't legally ask you to sell their products for a specific price. They can only recommend the price. But obviously, they don't want you selling their products at a low price because it devalues their overall brand and it causes all sorts of price wars. So in Australia, it's very important to reassure the supplier that you will not sell under their recommended retail price. Like, it will drastically increase your chance of approval with suppliers over here. Now, when it comes to setting up your dropshipping business in Australia, it's really easy. Like, especially compared to the US, where each state there is like its own little country, and setting up your business and your taxes and your legal compliance will vary from state to state. Here in Australia, we have one simple system. You know, you can get an ABN, you can create a business entity, and you can start a dropshipping business. Okay, it'll take you about 15 or 20 minutes. You know, you can worry about taxes later when you start making some money, okay? Because you'll be happy to deal with it then. Like, that's a good problem to have when you start making money. Another thing I want to mention about dropshipping in Australia is a lot of big companies also dropship. Woolworths, Kmart, Bunnings. Like, yes, they're a physical store, but they also dropship. Then you've got Kogan, Catch, MyDeal. They're online only, but they also dropship. And this isn't specific to Australia. Like, big companies like Walmart in the US also dropship. Obviously, they do it because they know how profitable it is. A lot of suppliers won't work with them because they are big, general online marketplaces, and they don't provide the best support, and it sort of cheapens their brand's image being listed on these platforms. But a lot of people don't like the fact that they also dropship. They think they're not going to be able to compete with them if they are selling the same products as you. Personally, I love it because I found it turns a lot of people off dropshipping, okay, which means less competition. Plus, all these companies, all these marketplaces are validating demand for me. And like, I would rather compete with Kogan or Kmart over other dropshippers because they're big marketplaces that sell everything, okay? They don't specialize in anything. I can create a niche store, which is an authority. I can offer much better support. I can have better offers with better perceived value. And I can resonate with my market better and gain more trust. Like, this is a topic I could create a whole separate video on, but I'll leave it there. But don't assume if Aussie marketplaces like Kogan or Catch, if they are selling some of the same products within your niche, that you can't compete, okay? Because you definitely can. Okay, depending on the price of your product, sometimes a couple of sales a week on a high ticket store can literally replace a full-time income in Australia. And you know, whilst it's not as easy as it was 7 or 8 years ago to build a profitable high ticket dropshipping business here in Australia, it's also not that hard either. Like, I actually think there are more options now when it comes to transitioning a dropshipping business into a private label brand. And if you're interested in learning how to start your business here in Australia, I'll leave a link below to my program. If not, I have many free articles on my website which you can check out below, okay? I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, guys.